face is crazy. I like that little.
It was a conversation. He started speaking.
No, that's been reported.
And I
Here's
asked,
is that gentleman there. I don't know, to be honest.
Jeremy Corbyn, previous Labour.
Oh yeah, I think his brother was here.
That's it. Yes.
Oh, okay.
That was it. He was trying to speak.
He's a communist. I don't think
Well, I
They weren't attacked overnight.
Anyway, he started speaking. He wanted to give a lecture on conflict that's happening right now. And I just asked him a couple of questions. He did not like questions. He wasn't prepared to answer
he
questions.
was lecturing instead of
Well, he was trying to only give a one-way communication instead of trying to engage, which isn't taken at Speaker's Corner. If you show up here, be willing to face questions. And when he couldn't answer questions, all his entourage, or the bodyguards, you saw all the bodyguards, including the guy who was shouting on my face and at my ears and so on. They started shouting because he simply could not answer questions.
I get it.
Did you see no one went to him and said, why don't you answer questions? At Speaker's Corner, we challenged.
So they didn't want you to engage with him.
They didn't like me asking questions. They just wanted him to speak.
Any secret intelligence cells?
Well, he can try that
It's
in his living room. Yeah. The moment he comes out in the public, especially at Speaker's Corner, people will challenge him. You see what I'm
But
saying?
he wasn't here when you were having that, when they were shouting at you.
Well, he
did
started
he-
off there.
Okay.
He was there initially.
He's a Christian.
And when I asked questions, he moved there. And when I followed and went to him and asked questions,
That's when he said, ask questions. Okay.
when I went there to ask questions, all these people were there to give a lecture to me that, how does it matter to you, sir?
Well, I'm just wondering. Why? I'm allowed to wonder. I want to know what religion you are. I just wonder. You could say Muslim, you could say atheist. I don't mind. I just want to know. Why would that bother you? Me asking you that question. Why should that bother
Why
you?
does it bother you that I am asking the question that how does it matter to you?
Because you're a Christian. I want to ask you. Right? Who do you think? Right? Because I'm asking other Christian. I'm looking for an extreme Christian Zionist. Right? What I'm very interested in is who they believe is Satan's synagogue. Right? Because if they believe the scriptures, that's the book of Revelations. Listen,
I'm not
Satan.
No. What I'm saying is, who do they think the synagogue of Satan is? Right? And who do they think is the mark? What kind of mark with 3 sixes? You know, like it says, the mark of the beast, the mark of satanic forces, right, are going to be 3 sixes. Who do you think? That's what I'm asking. I know.
Okay. Well, if you and once I've answered, can I ask you my questions?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Are you a Christian before that?
I'm halfway there. I am. I believe in. I do believe. The more that I see what's going on, the more and more I believe in the Bible. There's a lot of great verses in the Bible. One of my favourite verses is the real fight isn't with flesh and blood. It's with spiritual wickedness in high places, and that's the House of Parliament, that's the mainstream media, and all these other institutions, the Federal Reserve, so many of them. They all practice spiritual wickedness. That's the real fight.
Oh, the spirit.
We went from religion to conspiracy. I'm out.
Well, it's not about well, that's not conspiracy. Oh, well, is it? I mean, not conspiracy theory. We're calling about conspiracies. That's right. It is conspiracy. They're full of conspiracies. You know.
But conspiracy
Anyway,
theory, I don't think
anyway,
it's-
I just want to hear him address the question.
Just to comment on the last point.
I'm out of the conversation.
If you understand, please come in. Please,
Yeah,
If you understand, if you want to understand the biblical view on what that spiritual place wickedness is, it's not just with what you might see as power centers. It's also in regards to how you act, how he acts, how I act.
Yeah, I know.
The maliciousness with which we move around.
Of course, you got
As opposed to
But everyone's a sinner. Everyone's a sinner. But anyway,
I know.
let's get on with
The Bible's view on wickedness is that it covers all of these.
So who's the synagogue of Satan? That's what I want to ask.
Historically, it apparently referred to a group of people who claimed to be Jews who weren't Jews. Historically.
And
Now,
who do you think the 3 sixes are? What do you think
the
the mark
3
of-
sixes, there are
Everyone's
multiple different views. There are multiple different views in regards to the 3 sixes. It's not necessarily 3 numbers, three-digit sixes, but it either could even, in one of the manuscripts, it even goes goes in a particular way that it could stand for another popular religion. But okay. Now, having said, what's your name?
You're not immortal. You're going to die.
That's Chris. Arul. Hey, Arul. Usman, you said. OSMAN or OSM? Okay. This is the challenge. You see the conflict in Israel, Gaza. You see many other things happening in the world, Russia.
But do you agree with that or not? What's happening in Israel? Sorry, I mean, you still haven't answered these
No,
questions
that's a
yet.
good question.
I don't
Sure,
wanna.
that's good.
I don't wanna.
That's a very important question. That's a much better question than mine.
So, Osman, that's a very good question. Let me ask you, let me just give one example, just to make sure we're on the same page, and then let me jump onto that question. Yeah? So, for example, you come here, let's say, yeah? You come here, and as soon as you come here, I punch you in the face. Yeah? And you take a couple of seconds to sort of figure out what's going on. You know, when you get back to your normal self, you say, hey, why did you punch me? And then you punch me back. Let's say, at the time when you punched me back, or just before that, but after I punched you, someone came here. Someone came here, and he saw only you punching me. Do we agree that he may think you are an aggressor? But do you agree that could happen? Yeah?
Yeah, that's possible.
But do you also agree with me if I told you, but if someone else had taken note of the entire situation, he would understand that I am the aggressor, and that perhaps you were too afraid that you may receive extra punches, and you defended by sort of, decapacitating.
So who's the aggressor now?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
This is
I
where
know you gave an analogy, but be a bit more direct.
more direct.
Yeah.
The conflict between Israel and Gaza did not start in 1948. That is something we have to understand. We really need to understand that. Even before 1948, for instance, I'll give you a simple example. In 1929, there was a terrorist attack by who are supposed to be Palestinian Arabs on Jews who were fleeing persecution across different places in the world, especially in Europe. They were fleeing, you know about the Holocaust and what led to the Holocaust eventually and so on. If you had looked at the situation at that time, time frozen, you would have seen these Jews were victims from wherever they were trying to flee from, and they were now becoming victims even in the places they are trying to come into. Would you appreciate that? 1929. This is history. This is very important.
But then if you're saying you're going back and you say 1929,
That's just one
for
example.
example, the Jews that were killed in the genocide, the Holocaust, killed by Europeans, for example, they were killed by white Europeans, and then Europe then decided we're gonna move them all out of Europe, and we're gonna move them into, I think they had three options: Uganda or other country, Argentina, and they said, yeah, let's move them to Palestine. But when they moved them to Palestine, was there people there already?
Okay.
Was there people there already?
No,
Yes or no? No, but you're going 1929. I'm saying before that.
I'd like to go before that.
Was there people in Palestine? Yes or no? There was, right? Those
Osman.
people were brought on to another people that were living in the land. I do understand when Jews say that they lived there 4,000 years prior. But when you move one people into an area where other people live, and they're totally from different cultures, and they've not been there for whatever, that causes friction. And also I've heard that Palestinians initially welcomed Jews because they've lived with Jews for many hundreds of years within the Ottoman and the history. But later on, the Zionist Jews, this is what I've kind of read on. Zionist Jews believe that the land is theirs, all of it, and they need to move out all Palestinians. But the question now is we can go back to history. History, but I think we should be dealing with the current issue now, how to solve
Not
it.
by God.
You can't solve the
The
problem.
Rothschilds and his associates
But I've
control the
understood.
Federal Reserve.
I myself,
Even in the statements, in the 10, 15
Supply of
statements
money.
you told me in the last 5
I know.
minutes, plenty of factual errors.
okay.
Plenty of factual errors.
Which one, for example?
For an example, you saying, oh, there are plenty of factual errors. I'll come to them in a moment. But at least we agree that perspectives might be polar opposites, entirely different, depending on how much information you have, depending on whether you have watched the entire story both in time and in space. Yeah, understood.
Yeah, but I can go for you as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's where in our conversation I've been very willing. I don't know if you noticed when you spoke, I patiently listened because I would really like to know if you'd like to add more details which could change my mind. I'm very much willing to consider this. Now,
What do you think of going forward? This current war, this current fighting going on, is not going to solve Palestinians or Jews. Would you say a two-state solution or a one-state solution? Or do you believe Jews, the Jewish state, so-called Jewish state, should kick out all the Palestinians? Or do we say the whole world help Palestinians and kick out all the Jews? What is the,
just so you
I'm
know,
saying, what
just
is
so
the
you know,
solution for these people?
just so you know, there was only one solution that was given right from before 1948, even coming up to now.
Okay, what is that solution?
On the table from the Jewish side and whoever were acting in a neutral manner, and that was a two-state solution right from the start.
Okay.
And if you read up history, this is
Okay,
where I'd like to.
two-state solution. Where would the Palestinians live in a two-state solution?
Well, so in
No, but where would they live? Where would they live?
in regards to where the boundaries are drawn. Now,
But that is very important because at the moment Palestinians don't really have any control of any land. Israel has full control of the whole land. They have full control.
how do they get all the rockets then?
These are all smuggled in.
How? If they did not have control, how could they smuggle so
Gaza
many
is
rockets?
Gaza's under siege, meaning all its borders are controlled. One end all by Jews, the other end with Egypt. Egypt has made a deal with Israel that nobody can come in or out. So basically, the Gaza Strip is just one small area. It's a small little strip. So they've created tunnels.
Osman, simple question you didn't answer. Several thousand
Yeah, but where
nation destroying rockets. Where did they get from? If they were so controlled, where did they get from?
Where did Israel get its nuclear weapons and all its
No,
weapons?
no, no, no,
No, but that's a fact. That's also a fact.
No,
but the thing is,
Osman. You can't.
Even if they do have
Osman,
weapons, I'm not even going to be defensive about that. I won't be defensive.
No,
You know
no.
why? You know why? You know why I won't be
Osman,
defensive? I'll tell you where I got it from.
Osman.
I'll tell you what. Do Palestinians have a right to have weapons to defend themselves?
But
Yes or no? Do they have?
But you're moving on to
Whether
your
they have rockets or whatever, I believe Palestinians have a right to defend themselves.
Osman, you're moving away from a previous question asked, and if you move away in this manner, you may not be aware of the fact that you're moving away. But if you move away like that, I will not have confidence that even if I attempt to answer your second question, that you won't stick to that answer and move on still. And so you
But you
need to. We need to
I'll
really
go back
go
to your,
one
I'll go
topic
back to your
at a
question.
time. You said Israel controls.
Controls all of it.
We know what controls means.
There ain't no,
We know.
At the moment, there's one state called Israel. There's no Palestinian state. There's
You know why?
Palestinians. There's
Do
Palestinian
you know why?
people.
Do you know why?
Yeah.
Do you know why there is only one state at the moment? Do you know why? Because Palestinians have refused to have their own state right from the start. Did you
Why
know
would
this?
that don't even make sense?
No, I'm not exactly the
Why
point.
would the people?
Osman, exactly the point. That simply does not make sense to any thinking man like you or me.
Okay.
But the reality is that is the case. That is the fact. You may want to check up the fact. I can show you the history of the facts. But this is exactly what has
Yeah, but
happened.
that's a fact that you're just stating without, I can just say anything
Osman,
as well.
that's fine. You
Yeah.
need not agree with me right
Oh,
away.
me,
But-
for
but-
example,
Osman,
I'm not against the
Osman,
Israeli state.
please,
I'm
one
not
second.
against the
I'll just make
Palestinians.
one comment and then please answer.
Yeah.
And please respond in your own way. I completely agree with you when you said that does not make sense. Completely agree with you. But would you? And I'm totally happy with the fact that you may not be comfortable to understand what I am saying.
I
is
totally
actually
agree
true.
with that, but I think
But you may not you may not know until you go back to do a bit more research to find out if it is true or not from another source of information. But would you agree with me? And then you respond in your own way. Would you agree with me that if what I am saying is true, that Palestinians still don't have a state because they have refused to come to the table or receive any two-state solution. Any. The discussion hasn't been even about the borders. The discussion has not been about borders, but about whether Israel could exist in any shape or form. Palestinians are not happy to agree with any Israel. Small, big, none they agree with. They say Israel cannot exist. In other words, they're simply saying this is not a solution we can live with. But do you think that's a sensible place?
I think everything you said is true, but the only problem with it is it's instead of you gotta take the word Palestine out, and it's Israel. It's Israel who's refusing. It's not Palestine. It's Israel that's refusing to have a two-state solution.
If what you're saying is wrong,
I think it's the complete opposite. Why?
Okay, you may think.
Why I say that is because if Israel were happy with the two-state solution and they brought it to the table, they would not have increased their land and seize more land with regards to the West Bank. And also even before the West Bank, they've been taking more and more land from 1948, 1967. They're just constantly seizing more and more land. For example, in Palestine, sometimes they show in the West Bank photos of the West Bank. So the photos of the West Bank doesn't show how it really looks. Because within the West Bank, Israeli settlers are everywhere. Where Palestinians live, I think it's really small. Maybe less than
Osman, let me be
on the
honest.
West Bank. So I don't. So my point.
Osman, let me be honest.
But let me make the point. Let me make the point. The point
Finish
is that Israel, if they do want a two-state solution, the first thing they need to do is get out of the Gaza, get out of the West Bank, and then say to the Palestinians, West Bank and the Gaza Strip is 100% your state. You won't have anything to do with it. You guys are free. They will take the siege of Gaza. They'll take the siege of the West Bank. Because the West Bank is fully controlled by Israel. People cannot leave their house. They need somebody to. There's checkpoints in the West Bank. That's facts. Okay. That's facts, bro.
Osman.
Maybe you don't know about that. Maybe you have.
Osman.
I feel sorry for Palestinians. I don't really feel.
I do also.
I also feel sorry.
I feel very sorry for all those who are suffering needlessly.
That's right.
I completely.
Okay, we agree on that point.
I am a Christian. And according to the Bible, you might be aware that I am supposed to love even those who consider me their enemies. You're aware of that. Love your enemies is a basic tenet of the Lord Jesus Christ, who I serve as my God. So I completely.
So why don't you affect that?
But the problem is, Osman. The problem is the real difficulty I am having right now in our conversation is I don't think you are lying. I don't think you are lying. You are attempting to lie everything or cover up facts. I just think you haven't got the right information for whatever reason. Maybe you went to the wrong source. Read this is my challenge. And so, for example, you said Israel is the one which is preventing. I completely disagree. In other words, when we disagree with facts, we can't discuss conclusions or opinions. Would you understand what I'm saying?
As a Christian, you do know Palestinians. Not all Palestinians are Muslim. There's a lot of Palestinian Christians who are being killed. Their churches are being destroyed.
Osman, so far, my point has nothing to do with what religion belongs to.
Yeah, no, but you brought up the religion thing. No, but you're saying you as a Christian, but I'm making a point that
in relation to Israel versus Gaza, Israel versus West Bank, I did not comment based on their religions. I commented based on I just made one claim, and that claim was Israel. This is a historical fact. Of course, you don't understand so far. I agree with it.
When you say that Palestinians refuse
right from the start,
to have a two-state solution. My point is Palestinians at the moment, because they don't have any power. Nobody supports them. They have
Hamas is the ruling power.
Hamas is just in the Gaza Strip. The majority of Palestinians are in the West Bank.
Okay, so are you now?
So with regards to the West Bank, recently they killed over, I think, 30 people recently in the West Bank. Nobody's talking about that.
Osman, now you're changing goalposts. Now, I'm quite happy.
No, but Palestine is
Both.
yeah, both. Gaza
But
and
you're
West Bank.
focusing on one, which is fine. If your focus is only on West Bank, I can tailor my conversation to that also, no problem. If that's what you want to
Do
do.
you believe that's Palestinian land, the West Bank?
That's a new question now.
No, but I'm just.
That's
That
a
is
new-
a very important. If you're saying that the Palestine is just the Gaza
Okay,
Strip,
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this very simple question. You know the natives who you would call Palestinian Arabs or in the West Bank today. I'd like to know if you know the facts. This is very important because unless we agree on the facts, it'll be really hard to agree or have a sensible conversation in relation to opinions and solutions. Do you know that the Palestinian Arabs of today never had governing authority over themselves for centuries? Did you know this? They never ruled themselves. They aren't the
yeah,
sovereign
it's the same
entity.
thing because they were colonized, just like many colonized countries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So in relation
Colonized
to
by who? The Western countries.
interesting Ottoman Empire.
Well, I'm talking about after the British gave the Balfour
You not have a
Agreement.
military and then being attacked.
Yeah.
Also massive
Yeah, but they gave.
Whether it's 1912, I can't remember. Early 20th century. I am talking about the entire history. I'm talking about centuries. History is very important.
But
Without history,
yeah, but
without
at the same
history.
time, a lot of these countries are all created. Jordan and all these,
But my
Saudi
point-
Arabia.
but my
All
point-
these lines are new lines that were
But
created.
my point simply is.
Palestinians were not given the opportunity to create their own state.
Okay, let me again,
And new
again,
people-
factual
new
errors,
New
factual errors,
people have been brought onto
factual errors. Lebanon, the people group which is today called Lebanese, they weren't known as Lebanon before, but they were a historical people group for a very long time, who are today Syrians, who are called Arameans or Syrians. For centuries, from what I remember, 4 millennia, for about 4 millennia, they always had their sovereign land. The people of Jordan today,
So what are you? What's your point? Your point? You're saying
My point-
Palestinians shouldn't have anything. They shouldn't.
I
have
haven't
anything.
come to the conclusion at all. My problem
Okay,
is,
give me
my problem
yeah,
is,
give me the conclusion.
but you won't appreciate my conclusion unless we appreciate the fundamental facts. The facts are, Israel so far, till date, beginning,
Till today, they're still killing Palestinians.
Osman, this is the problem. This is exactly my problem. We won't agree on the comments unless we agree on the fundamental facts. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm not. The problem with you, Osman,
No, but
is
the
that
thing
you're not getting the facts right, yet you want to conclude. Unless you get the facts right, it's like the person who may see only you punching me, and may say, "Hey Osman, why are you being so bad?" And if he accuses you to the police,
but
if
the
he
thing
acts as a witness even,
No, but the
it'll
thing
be
is,
really bad.
I think personally, I'm coming from a more of a neutral aspect.
I'm
you're
not
coming-
asking you to come
but
from
you're
any
coming-
aspect,
yeah, but you're coming-
except for factually true aspect.
But you're
That
coming-
is the key.
Yeah, no, but the thing I think with you is you're already coming to the conversation very biased. With
In
regards
what
to-
way?
With regards to supporting Israel.
In what way?
You're just saying that Palestinians have refused.
Which is a fact. If it is a fact, it's not my bias.
Palestinians cannot make any decision. They are people.
What, in 1948?
No, they are at the moment.
You know the UN resolution?
They're under occupation.
In
No, the thing
1948,
is, people under occupation.
In
cannot- No, but I'm
1948
saying to you, if I put you in prison and I say to you, make a decision,
on what?
what decision can you make? You are already in prison. You're already locked.
Okay, let me
Yeah,
ask
that's
you.
my point. Palestinians
You
at the
didn't make a
moment-
point.
Yeah, but my
If
point.
you didn't make a point. If you were in prison,
Yeah.
if you were in
They're
prison,
in prison.
if you were in
They're
prison,
in prison. They're subjugated. They're
Osman,
killed.
if you were in prison,
Yeah.
and if I came to you and said, I'm going to open the door, walk out, are you saying you can't make any decision?
No, but they're not being given that option.
Oh, good. No.
The
Let's.
first thing
But
is-
do you
before-
understand your analogy was
no,
wrong? Now let's get to
Before Israel,
Osman.
Yeah, let me just make one more point because I gotta go. Before Israel makes any decision with regards to putting forward their point of view with regards to Palestine, they should leave all Palestinians. And then
Osman,
after that,
Osman,
Palestinians
the problem-
can vote. Palestinians can vote for who they want as leaders, those leaders then can make a decision and say, this is how we're going forward. But at the
You know,
moment,
you know what the
but at the
problem.
moment,
You know
yeah,
what
but
the
at the
problem. You know what the problem with your solution is.
Yeah.
You have solved a problem which doesn't exist. That's your problem.
Solve the problem that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
What problem is that?
The problem that is there is not that Palestinians don't like Israel's solution. The problem that we have right now.
What about the world solution?
Are you going to listen?
Yeah.
The problem that we have is that Palestinians refuse to come to the table for a solution.
I don't think this. I don't know
This
much
is
about.
historically true. This is historically true. Hamas, until very recently,
Hamas is a recent thing. They're recent. They're not.
Hamas, you
they're not
understand, was
historic.
democratically voted in
Yeah.
by the people in Gaza.
for Gaza, not the whole of Palestine.
Okay. So if you want to limit the conversation only to some parts, I'm willing to do that.
Yeah.
But
But
I'm talking about both scenarios.
Yeah, but the majority of Palestinians are in the West Bank.
How does majority matter now?
Yeah,
So I
but-
thought
no, but
every
you're
life
say-
matters.
yeah, but
to you
you're
now.
saying Hamas speaks for all Palestinians. They don't speak for all
Say
Palestinians.
they speak for all Palestinians.
Yeah.
For all Palestinians, there is no one authority to speak. For all Palestinians, there is no authority.
Yeah. Even Yasser Arafat, when he was in power and he came to the table, they didn't accept any of these.
The David Accord?
Yeah.
The David Accord? Are
but
you
I
sure,
don't-
Osman?
For
The
example,
problem,
no, but the thing
Osman.
is, yeah,
The
but-
problem is you don't know the facts.
Okay.
This is the
What,
problem.
what borders? What borders?
No, you
what-
just
what-
made a comment.
Okay, what
You said
borders?
even
Yeah, but what-
Yasser Arafat. You said
yeah, but what-
even
what-
Arafat.
yeah, okay.
Even Arafat. What did you say?
Yeah.
Even Arafat.
Listen, what borders do you think that Palestinians should have? I'm saying, like, you as an individual.
But do you-
forget,
do you-
forget
do you-
Israel,
do you
forget
appreciate-
Israel, Palestine.
do you
What
appre-
borders do you think?
Do you
Yeah,
appreciate?
what borders?
Do you appreciate?
What borders should the Palestinians have?
Do you appreciate?
Yeah.
It's none of my business to suggest a border. My business is to suggest that two people
Yeah,
are fighting.
then
to
you
stay
stay
out
out
of
of it.
it.
Then it's better
No,
we
no,
stay
no,
out of.
no.
Yeah.
No. Step number one is to say, hey guys, you're fighting, come to the table. You understand that? We are saying,
Palestinians-
ignoring all the
Palest-
terrorist attack. Yeah, ignoring all the terrorist attack for a moment. We are saying two people in conflict. Well, let's use a neutral term. In conflict, two people in conflict.
I don't think
So-
it's two people. I think it's one people in control of another people who have full control of the land.
Actually incorrect.
Yeah, no, that's fact.
Osman,
Yeah.
what do you mean that's fact?
But anyway,
Please check.
It's
Please
been
check.
nice talking to you.
Good to speak to you.
Appreciate it.
Good to speak to
I
you.
mean,
But if you, I've
but
seen your face before.
But I think
I've seen you a few. Your face
Yes,
is certainly
yes,
familiar.
yes,
Would you please do me a favor?
Yeah, I haven't been here yet.
Okay.
I used
But
to
I
get
have,
upset
but your
over
face,
not,
your face is very familiar. I don't know when. When did you last come?
I came here, I think, about a year ago.
Your
But
face
I-
is certainly
But
familiar.
we didn't talk.
No, I might have just seen you. I've seen many people.
Yeah.
No, I certainly face
I
is
haven't
very
seen
familiar.
you before. Yeah, talking. I think I've listened to one of your conversations.
Sure.
But,
The only request I have is this: unless we get the facts right. No, what is your line of work?
Yeah, I'm in retail.
Retail. What do you do in retail?
I'm a driver.
You're a driver, yeah?
Yeah.
Logistics, yeah?
Yeah.
Pick stuff from one place, deliver to a different place. Can you imagine? Can you imagine attempting to do your work? And I understand it's a very skilled work. Logistics is not. Absolutely, logistics is not something everyone can deal with. So it's a very skilled work. Experience will certainly have a lot of say in it and so on. But would you agree with me that unless you know the facts, you can't deal with logistics properly? For example, unless you know where to pick up stuff from.
I know where you're going, but that goes for both of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that goes for everyone.
Absolutely.
But also facts at the same time can be misconstrued.
Can be, but
yeah.
but deliberation could help us get to the bottom of the truth. Yeah, and that is all I'm asking. Can I request? Next time, for example, I didn't bring that today, but next time I can even.
Let me ask you one question. Sure. Do you condemn Israelis killing children at the more indiscriminately, bombing the Gaza Strip? Not.
What if I disagree with claiming that they are doing that? This is a claim.
Say it is a fact. would you condemn it?
If it is a fact, let me qualify the fact again properly. If it is a fact that Israel is killing indiscriminately, that's a word you use, indiscriminately, bombing everywhere, indiscriminately killing children.
That's right.
I agree.
That's it.
I agree.
Shake my hand to that, brother.
I agree.
Brother, you're
We
there.
could help them. Yes.
That's
But
it. That's what's happening, bro.
I don't agree. I don't agree that that is the fact on the
But
ground.
that's what all the news outlets are saying.
News outlets may say whatever they want to say. News outlets are
What's
not
your source? What's your source to find the truth?
news outlets are not. Depending on who you're listening to, you may get different stories. Different
What about the UN rapporteur that's now not even being
you
linked to
get
Gaza?
different stories from different people. Facts necessarily don't come from one side or another. You need to weigh up various things that come toward you, weigh things up, and make an informed judgment on an individual basis.
And I think I have. And I think our discussion was very fruitful.
I think it was, but but of course clearly we disagreed.
No, we
Disagreed on the facts. But could I
But
please
think-
request? Maybe next time. I'm willing to give more details. I don't have it printed out, but next time.
Next time I'll come also with my
Absolutely.
facts. Yeah.
Bring the
Best
facts.
of luck.
We'll go through one step at a time, and then hopefully, because I can see you're a well-mannered person. So as long as we,
That's how the conversation be. I didn't really like how the other guys were shouting at you, screaming.
now the problem is maybe they're new to speakers.
That's why I didn't understand, because I think your conversation was very quiet.
Exactly. The problem is, at Speakers Corner, heckling is very welcome. Should be very welcome. It's the history of Speakers Corner. But invading someone else's private space is not welcome. And that is even illegal.
No, I agree.
Those guys thought heckling was unwelcome and invading private space was welcome. So they clearly did not have the right ideas.
100% agree with you. Thank you.
Osman, good to
All
see
the
you.
best. You too, my brother. All the best.
See you. Good to see you. See you around, yeah? Yeah, bye.
Last word.
Sure. Okay. So clearly we have a serious issue at hand. What's happening in Israel, what's happening in Gaza is not a trivial thing. People are dying, precious people are dying, and anyone who has a worldview based on the Bible would appreciate every single human being is invaluable before God. The Bible is extremely clear. It even goes on to say that God does not desire the death of even the wicked. So, seriously massive issue. But unless we get the facts correct, we can't suggest a solution. Osman agreed we need to get the facts right. We disagreed on the facts, so hopefully there is a little bit of room to do a bit more research to find out who exactly was right in making which claim. So hopefully with Osman, through God's grace, we could have a more productive conversation. This was also productive in terms of an initial exchange of ideas, but hopefully next time we could even move further in terms of making comments and conclusions and so on, or solutions, suggestions for solutions and so on. But with Pierce, it's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable, because what I do appreciate and understand about Pierce is that he has a large following. But it's incredible to see a person with such a large following who shows up in a public place with almost next to no preparation. He was here only to give his monologue, it would appear. The moment you ask a question, he was stumped. And that is what exactly happened. And once he was stumped and could not go any further, it's unbelievable how his minion bodyguards there, men, women, with slogans, with banners, were there to protect him. None of them wanting for him to answer the questions, and they came up with all sorts of advice to someone who is in an interesting manner, asking, maybe in a manner he didn't expect, asking him questions. Asking questions is very valid, is very much acceptable in any society. But not having an answer, but going around with slogans, shouting at people, shouting into people's ears slogans.